Wednesday we were too busy, because things are opening up and stuff. But we're here tonight, and it's great. We got Bob Bell, of course. Bob Bell, my co-host du jour.
Can you
stuck
see me?
in Canada.
I can't see anybody.
Uh-oh. But we can see you, Bob. That's what we can see you. We can see you. Big Mike, who just disappeared.
See Bob.
Yeah. Big Mike, who just disappeared in the nether access. I guess Big Mike is floating around in the blockchain of, reality. He's streaming somewhere, but he'll be back. Very interesting guy, always ranting. And, of course, we've got our guest tonight, Alex Heitzenreger, who's a very cool
Alex.
dude. Yeah. Was in an episode of PN and Friends recently who played a racist, a Boogaloo member, which, you got the beard for it. You were great, So, yeah. But he's not racist in real life, though. He's not racist in real life. He's a cool guy, right?
That's absolutely right.
Good. It'd be weird being a black guy hosting a show.
There we go.
Racist. Yeah. That'd be weird.
With a drag, right? Yeah. Not cool.
Yeah. And, we're just here. It's still, I guess it's still, the pandemic's still going on. Even though I feel like people are acting like it's not going on. Oh, and here's Big Mike. Speaking of people who,
there you go.
Big Mike, you're back from pandemic.
And we're back.
Welcome.
Big Mike,
I'm back, I think.
Yes, you're back from the neither worlds of streaming. How are you doing, Big Mike?
I'm missing teeth now.
Well, Big Mike, what happened?
How many teeth?
And
it's actually number 19. It's one of my molars.
Ooh.
Oh wow! What
I
happened?
was told that it came in probably when I was 6 years old, so it was 60 years ago. So,
Had a good run. Lots of sandwiches.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those jawbreakers, cracking jawbreakers and opening walnuts with my teeth.
So Big Mike, what happened to your tooth though? What happened? Is it is this because of age or something?
What happened? It was like decay. It came in when I was 6. It got decayed. They did a lot of drilling on it, and the dentist, not they kind of screwed up, but they put in the filling so that it put pressure down the tooth. So it fractured. Eventually fractured. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
So it fractured. So they gave me a choice of like root canal and crown that wasn't going to work, or they're going to pull it out, bone graft, uncover the bone graft, a post screw, and then an implant that's going to take 12 months now. I'm not going to have it till next April.
Wow.
Oh wow. Okay. So yes, something to look forward to for 2022 for you, huh?
Put it on the calendar.
Lifetime, and that's about a year from now. So that it kind of like dovetails rather well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, so
the tooth will last you a lifetime, about a year. So there you go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So speaking of which, we're back. It's still technically a pandemic and stuff, and I guess things are opening up slowly. In April, like comedy clubs are opening up. I think venues are going to open up soon, at 35% capacity. Bob Bell, unfortunately, is still stuck in Canada, and things are closing there. You still got a curfew over there, right, Bob?
Curfew at 8, but it's like, now we can go till 9:30. So I feel like I was telling you, my mom was like letting me out. It's like, you can go out till 9:30, Bob. Go ahead. So I go, I did my nightly constitutional where I walked around, different parts of Montreal and came back, and I thought, oh boy, I'm really living.
Yeah. So Bob, you're just like a ghost in Montreal, Bob, aren't you? Just like a specter, just walking around, waiting for.
It's funny. There's not many. In a sense, you're right, because there's not many people on the street, even though things are starting to, things are kind of open up during the day. Nobody's really, around at night. It's not like it always. Last summer it was packed, so people were all over the place. Yeah. That's what I've been relegated to, along with
I'm actually surprised too, though, because like I thought Canada was like one of the early places where it's like, we're taking it seriously, we're keeping it down, but it seems like now they're kind of worse than America now.
No, they're not worse. They're very proactive, so they're actually better. But the thing is, once it gets at all bad, they go into like lockdown mode, and they're pretty serious. And they didn't get get the vaccine out. They don't. Basically, they're maybe like half of what the U.S. is at. So there's that aspect of it. But they're in they're in decent. They're in decent shape. It's just that if it gets bad, they immediately go into like they're very conservative that way. They lock down. Quebec especially, they have curfews and stuff like that.
Yeah, Big Mike, you've missed a lot. Yeah, it's apparently Bob Bell's still locked up in Canada. Go. He's in the happiest jail on earth over there. So there you go.
Very friendly jail.
Yeah, it's like the happiest 100 square foot apartment that you could possibly be.
I think my favorite part is that like America's now going to send like the grade C vaccine over there.
I noticed that. You're right. That here in Mexico, that's. I wonder what people are thinking about it. As far as, hey, here you go. Here's the AstraZeneca. Don't watch out for those blood clots.
They're supposed to be sending a nurse to give it to me in my studio apartment, like a house call to give me the.
Mike, you're the only one I've ever heard have gotten like a vaccine house call. Who's gotten like a shot where
I'm disabled or something, that kind of thing, and I have mental issues. I have agoraphobia.
Okay.
Yeah, really, Big Mike, you've got mental issues? No.
Yeah, really.
So
I'm just waiting
to hear like
a stripper gram to come to my house. Like one of those like strippers to go, like if they show up just as a police officer or something like that, and they take their clothes off and give you a lap dance.
And then stick you with a vaccine.
Yes, exactly. That's the best part.
Right.
Yeah, you don't even notice at that point. I'm waiting for the strip clubs to open. That's the only thing that's
on your health insurance.
The strip clubs are going to open yet.
By the way, Big Mike, very good strategy to sexually harass your vaccinator. Very good strategy. I'm glad you're planning that. Yeah. Speaking of which, Alex Heizenrader is here, who's like a good friend of ours, who's married to Kate Hester, very funny lady, very funny comedian and stuff. So speaking of which, it's an interesting story though. But like you two met when she hit on you, right? Like I think she like followed you or something on the street. I think I read on one of her tweets.
Yeah, well, we met at the local bar. It's like right down the street from the house that we live in right now. And we had a good time. She was with another guy at that time. But a couple months later, she saw me walking down the street. I was walking to work. And she like flagged me down from across the street. The way she tells it, she's like waving her arms, running at me. But it was great. I was very happy to see her. So I'm always happy to see her from then on out. I've always been very happy to see her. She's lovely and talented. So you should check her out.
See, that's a good boyfriend. See, there you go. That's a good boyfriend. Good comedy boyfriend.
You like that with the plug right there? Boom.
Yeah, exactly. I do like that, like the whole like flagging you down, like hey, like, I feel like that could be like women could get away with that. If you're a guy, it just seems very like, oh God, he's gonna kill me.
It's a little aggressive, probably.
Where's the bar located?
It's in Jersey City. It's downtown Jersey City. Yeah, it's called Lucky Sevens. So now you all know the block that I live on, that we live on.
Yeah, Big Mike wants to know, so he could go there and also, get
go pick up chicks. Yeah, I mean, if you wanna find women with dirty pirate mouths, that's the place to be.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
New Jersey. There you go, Bob Bell, New Jersey, right? Have you ever?
Yeah.
Bob Bell's from New Jersey.
I lived it. So
right on.
Wait, Alex, you're from New Jersey, right?
I'm actually from southeastern Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. All right. That's kind of nearish, right? Isn't that like one of those?
It's very, very near to Jersey. There is the Delaware River that like separates those two things. So
like
I'm currently in
how close
North
is to
Jersey.
Allentown? Allentown?
Pretty close. Yeah, Bucks County is where I grew up. So spent a lot of time in Philadelphia. Allentown is northwest of there. It's an okay town. They're closing all the factories down. But that's,
have you ever heard of a place called Catasauqua?
Catasauqua? I don't believe I have. No.
They call ABC Allentown, Bethlehem, Chester.
Oh, okay.
It's What do you call it? The Lehigh Valley. Lehigh Valley.
The Lehigh Valley, yeah, sure, yeah. Certainly Bethlehem. Yeah, they have a solid music festival that my dad likes to attend.
And
annually.
Crayola
Obviously,
Crayon.
they're not doing it right now, but what was that?
Crayola Crayon.
I don't want to wait. I don't want to interrupt you two's speed dating. I just want to read some of the comments we have here, just because I finally found. Say that shit in my face. Says time for some falsies, and also that's not too bad. At least he's not a front tooth. Oh, he's talking about Big Mike's tooth.
Yeah.
And and then Chris Fraley presents says 9:30 is my bedtime most nights. I'm moving to Canada, and it says vaccine house call. Harass your vaccinator. Know it well. Luck. Yeah. So looks like we have
That
a
would
bunch
be
of
a good name
now.
for like a metal band. Harass your vaccinator.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So is that a part of Jersey though, where it's like I think like that south part of Jersey where they actually sound like different Pennsylvania. They have like different accents compared to like
they say like water and pocketbook and things like that.
Yeah. I grew my grandparent, my one grandparent on my mother's side was from Cartersville.
Okay.
It's the small they're like coal mining part
Sure.
of the state.
Yeah.
And they would say like soda, things like that.
Yeah,
I still
pop.
say it.
They say they pop a lot. That's your Western Pennsylvania, is where you're going to get your coal mining and things like that. Southern Pennsylvania into the Western Pennsylvania. My dad's side of the family is from Punxsutawney, which is where the groundhog is.
Oh right, yeah. That's
yeah. So we know that one.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Big Mike, have you ever thought about like just going to Pennsylvania and cosplaying as Benjamin Franklin?
Actually, I've been to
Could do
Pennsylvania.
it.
I have one of my exes lives there, and I go and visit her sometimes. Once I was running away from one of my exes because she was going to have me kind of like arrested for like domestic violence, which I swear I didn't do. But I just figured that it was 111th precinct in Bayside, Queens. There's like 2 squad cars there, so I figured. Well, if and the detectives left me one of the little detective calling cards at my door. I was like, well, let me just get out of town because obviously, if they have 2 squad cars and like 1 detective, they're not going to send this precinct is not going to send somebody out to Catasauqua, Pennsylvania, the Lehigh Valley, to drag me back. So I went out there and stayed with her for like a week or so, until the heat died down, until the coppers were off my tail, that kind of thing. Like the heat was on, so. So then I came back to New York, but I was actually lived out there for a while with one of my exes from there. I still see her around, She still comes into the city.
Wait, Mike, I like how you
together. We go to the Metropolitan Opera when she's in town. We're going again when it opens. We're going to go to strip clubs and the Metropolitan Opera. The 2 things I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, Big Mike, I like how you run away from one ex to another ex.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. And I'm with one of my exes now. I'm squatting in her apartment. So that's like tic-tac-toe, 3 exes in a row. There you go.
Yeah, I feel like your exes are basically like your safe houses. Basically, you're just like, all right,
my safe house is. I said,
Mike planned ahead. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, right. Well, the one is you break up with someone, but you don't like treat them like shit or talk down about them, and you always keep kind of like you don't you go over the bridge, you cross the bridge, but you don't burn it behind you, kind of thing. You still keep on good terms with your exes, and you can never go wrong that way, kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you have like one ex where you just you burn bridges with, or just like you'll never be friends? Is that the
ex? I the one ex who lives out in Bayside. I tried to get in touch with her again, and she sent me this letter that was notarized by a notary. And like somehow this was like a legal thing that says I never want to hear. It was like a notary, so it was like notaries like that's a legal document now that says I never want to hear or see you again. And if you ever contact me again, I will start legal proceedings to keep you away from me from on feet. But
That's amazing. I am a notary. I should start that business. No, that's amazing.
Hilarious.
Have people.
Alex,
I'm a notary, Hudson County. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so you
I should start that up.
Like they're
break up
so
with
in
your
the mind of my ex.
boyfriends.
A notary's note is just as solid as like order of what is it? The order of restriction, whatever they call the order of
restraining
protection.
order.
Restraining order, right? It's just as legal as a restraining order. There
Well,
you
it
go.
just shows that you really mean it. That's how you know that it's
Where does
like,
the
for
stamp
serious this
go?
time.
By the way, Alex, where would the stamp go? If it's not, if the,
Oh,
his ex went
wherever
to
you
LA
want. I mean, probably like right by the signature, right? It's like,
Oh,
Right,
okay.
exactly.
so somebody's going to
I
sign
see.
it, and you put it right on the signature.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, have you ever had these amorous situations, Bob? Did you ever have these
No,
like
but
tumultuous?
I've had notary situations though. I have had notary
Yeah.
situations.
Yeah, I've been there.
I forget what I had to have notarized. It was something but I had to go to some guy in the Upper West Side because I think it had something to do with my apartment. Yeah, I think it was back around 2000, and the guy sat me down. I said, "Look, I need this thing notarized." And he just went and basically he told me his life story about him being in, like, he was from the where was it, Canary Islands, and he
Yeah.
like came here, became a notary, and he happened to be where, like, when Nixon like resigned, he happened to be like somewhere, and or what was it? Who was it? Patty Hearst, when his, like, he was talking about Patty Hearst when she got abducted. He was with Hearst, her father, and he was crying. He started going into this thing, and then he started talking about Bill Clinton, saying that he made the White House, into a whorehouse. This whole, like, this whole story that just
I think we're
emanated
losing
from
you there, Bob. I lost you there for a moment.
Anyway, the guy just, like, basically gave me his life story, and all I needed was his, like, in his stamp. And I'll never forget that. It was just like,
Yeah, I mean,
I connected with a notary on
Well,
this
that's
really
the
deep
lonely
level.
life of a notary. It's like being a lighthouse keeper. You're there all alone. Nobody ever comes to see you except once a year. Somebody comes by to bring you supplies.
Alex, do you have a very lonely life, Alex? A very lonely life of a notary? Is that the
Uh,
life?
Not if I can help it, but yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's hard to say. In our current situation, it's difficult to tell whether or not I'm actually
We're all like
lonely, or if
lighthouse
I'm just
keepers in
like,
this
yeah,
day and age.
living the life. I mean, shacking up with Kate Hester is pretty friendly. We like that. So, she keeps me busy.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys have a cat too. You have like
We
a murderous
do.
cat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's 10 now, and he's a maniac still. Lots of yelling, lots of eating plastic that then gets thrown up in the other room. So that's all the excitement. What do they call it? Domestic bliss, right there.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
By
for
the way,
sure.
say that to my face. Comments and says I had a restraining order on my baby mama, and it was for 4 years for her to stay away from home and work. Wow, that's some Big Mike drama right there. That's I think Big
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah.
I think Big Mike's ex is like his ex's internet connections kind of weak.
Yeah, I mean, it must be out on the lighthouse, right? Out on the jetty. I mean, it's tough to get it going.
Show us
Also,
audience.
Yeah. Also, say that says he looks thought you looked familiar. She's funny, dude. Yeah, she's a big fan.
She is. No, yeah, she's very funny. Lots of laughter. Lots of laughter.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so Bob, so what's going on with you? I know, are you like I know with Canada being like, they're expanding for you, so now 9:30, you can go out till 9:30. When are we going to get Bob Bell back in the States? Huh? That's what America.
It might be sooner rather than later. There's a few different things happening in my life where I might I might end up coming back. So depending on a few different things, work situation, and different things, any between that, comedy, all this different stuff, I'm gonna see what's gonna be happening. I'll figure out in the next few months. There's a different thing. So stay tuned, everybody who's out there. Stay tuned.
Exactly.
Not anybody who cares. I mean, they're still gonna just see me here in like the virtual reality anyway.
But we have 33 people that care. There's 33 people watching.
That's right. 33.
Like 14 streams. Like 14 streams. And I think Big Mike. And then Big Mike's back. Big Mike's back. There you go.
I'm back. They keep timing me out. I don't know what this app is. I'm not too keen on it. So what can you do?
Yeah,
I'm doing this on like a crappy old Samsung Android phone. So what can you expect?
Yeah. So So I ask Alex. Alex is also in. You're creative, right? You make
Yeah.
music.
Yeah, in a couple of bands, obviously more so before the madness, but I play in a band called Aminal, based out of Jersey City. We got a record on Spotify. It's called In With the New, and it's a play on words, a GNU, like the wildebeest. You're really clever when you have to explain it to people every single time, or else they won't be able to find you on the thing. I'm in another band called Papermaker, also based out of Jersey City. We do like wacky podcasts and stuff like that. So Papermaker Music, Papermaker Podcast. You can find those things where those happen for you. We got, I think both of those entities have like YouTube channels. You could probably find them doing stuff. So lots of bass guitar. And I give video music lessons now, so that's been exciting. It's been a lot of that lately. So
before the lockdown, you performing live at all?
Yeah, no, lots of in-person music lessons before the lockdown, and
in
now
New
it's
York,
all like in the
Manhattan,
bubble. Jersey City, yeah, nice
By
and
the way,
local. Nice and local.
By the way, Dial M from Masala is asking, "Is this live?" Yes, it is live, Dial.
Fortunately, it's live. It is.
Yeah.
We're doing it live.
Yeah, we're here.
Without the net, Yeah, all real.
Yeah. Hey, wait, someone else's count says 10:25 p.m. post St. Patty's Day 2021. Did anybody here have a exciting? I feel like St. Patty's was kind of dead this year. Like, I don't think we'll have a hype St. Patty's until maybe 2025, maybe.
Yeah. I managed to drive the local druids and heathens from their hovels in true St. Patty's fashion this year. So, yeah.
Oh, what did you? Were you like an Uber guy or something? Or
No. I'm in with my shillelagh, just driving them out of their hovel until they accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior.
Yeah, so give up their heathen ways.
Yeah, that's exactly right. No more Stonehenge for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jesus, Bob Bell. Like, you're very Christ-like, Bob Bell. What is the true religion, Bob?
True religion? I don't know. It's like, finding the right Haagen-Dazs at 2 a.m. That's like what it is. That's, if you could do that, you've connected with the elsewhere. You can find rum raisin over like chocolate. You'd say, "Wow, I get it now. I get it."
Well, I said the Hindu religion is supposedly 10,000 years old. So not the true religion, but the original religion that all religions come from, it's probably Hinduism.
Kali Yuga, dude.
Right. Yes, Kali Yuga. Yes, we have a little joke in our web series where Kali Yuga.
Is that where Cowabunga came from?
Maybe. Probably. Well, if you don't know, like in Hinduism, Kali Yuga is the last age of ages, right?
Yeah.
And and basically, it's I think
10,000 years. 10,000 years.
10,000 years, right?
The Yuga, right?
Yeah, Yuga, yeah. We're I just love how we do our shows. It just goes deep into like either maternity wards or paternity leaves, or we'll talk about the meaning of life. That's where we always end up.
Yeah.
That's where we always.
Or
do your research.
Meaning of Big Mike's sex life, either one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Big Mike, what's the meaning of your sex life? Yeah, well, the folks want to know.
They say that this world is a vale of tears. So pretty much this life is just to suffer, and supposedly the next life you get the rewards. That's what I've been doing with the sex life all my life, is suffering at the hands of women. So the point is, like, I guess that means in heaven I'm gonna have like more submissive or compliant women, kind of thing. Like, I've had nothing but, like, I'm gonna say this, aggressive bitches my entire life. So the point is, maybe I finally get like the ones that just lay down and just don't talk to me instead of screaming in my ear for 24 hours.
Mike, you're going to be a wizard. You're going to just have no women. That's what it is. It's like, wait a second, how did this happen?
Big Mike.
This is where you're
Big Mike. Big Mike, you're like a one man play about a man in the Bronx who's like from the 1950s.
Yes. Well, I always actually I read the play first and later realized this in my life. Don Juan in Hell, the play within the play of Man and Superman by George Bernard Shaw. It's just that when he was a child, he banged his head on rocks, would get up crying and cry and like put his head into the breast of his nursemaid, and he would cry away his pain. He said, he says, when I grew up an adult, I hit my head on the rocks of life, and I just ran to women to make myself feel better afterwards. So that's pretty much it. I'd say that's if my life was a play, it would be Don Juan in Hell, and I would be Don Juan.
By the way, say that shit in my face says. By the way, say that shit in my face says, "Joke's on you, Big Mike. You're going to be a woman who's just like those women." So,
well, listen, it would be revenge not on me, but revenge on other women. Because I think I'd make other women's life hell, which you can do if you're a woman. You really can't do that if you're a man.
Oh boy! Dial in from Asala says Hinduism. I'll kill for my 5th or 6th chapter.
Bulimia.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And
women
of course,
make other women cut their breasts off, or make their breasts larger, or wear tight, uncomfortable shoes. Other women do that. Men don't do that. So it'd be kind of like my revenge against women, to come back as women and make other women's lives hell for them.
What do you mean by being like a bitch to other women or something?
Yes, because nobody can be worse to a woman than another woman. Men can only be so evil to women, but there's nothing like the evilness of one woman to another woman. There's nothing like it.
So you'd basically be a Republican senator then, right? Hey-o!
Hey-o! A female, like, wasn't it? I'd come back as Marjorie Green, the one Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'd come back as her. Yeah. Oh, Bobert, whatever her name is, Bobert.
Yeah.
The one with the gun.
That's it.
Or Laura Ingraham. I'd come back as Laura Ingraham and make all women feel bad about themselves. The kind of thing. Be judgmental about everyone, kind of thing, and make other women feel judged, and then become suicidal, kind of thing, or self-mutilators.
You'd be a mean Republican, Mike. No doubt about it.
There you go.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of politics, Big Mike, did you get your stimulus or?
I checked on Saturday. I haven't checked since. I didn't get it on Saturday. I'm not going to get it now, I guess.
What are you planning to do with your stimulus if?
Strippers. That's why I'm waiting for the strip clubs to open.
Why did you even have to ask that question?
I'm going to blow $1,400 at the first stripper I see. I swear to God.
Oh, my God.
Well, yes, I did. I got money from the first ex-wife. She gave me well, I'm going to mention the number. I got $35,000 clear to take my name off the title. And I went and I spent it on like lap dances. I mean, what else am I going to do? Valerie. It was Valerie's blood money. What am I going to, Bob, you remember Valerie, right?
Yeah, I remember Valerie.
She gave me $35,000 and I spent it on strippers, kind of thing.
Wait, this is the one that passed away?
No. No, she just divorced me.
Oh, so she basically she paid you like a settlement after she
a settlement for the title to her co-op out in Bayside, and so having to sit and wait for that money for close to 20 years after the divorce came through, having to sit and wait for $35,000,
all that
$20,000. What am I going to do? Keep it? Save it? No, I'm going to fucking blow it. Come on, lap dances.
I don't see you in like investing in like bonds or stocks.
Right. Bond. What am I going to do? I can barely walk anymore. Given that, I at least if I'm sitting down and sit on my lap, I mean, this doesn't even take any physical exertion on my part,
you're going to ask her while she's sitting on your leg, should I invest the rest in gold? How about silver?
Right. I'll invest in strip clubs. I'll invest in lap dances. They just leave it at that.
Which brings us to another topic. Didn't you, at a certain point, almost invest or possibly buy not a strip club, but like a rock club?
What's the name of the place? Swamplands? Whatever. With the place? Wetlands.
Wetlands. Okay.
Bought it. We had like $80,000 say we were going to buy it, but the guy wanted we're going to give him 80,000 and a note for the rest. He said he just laughed us off. It's just like, I want $240,000 in my hand. Take it or leave it.
Oh boy, you can.
Oh, that was a story. And also, there was this place called Two Eyes. It was right next to. It was actually in the same building, but it was like separated by like an underground basement with. What's the name of the place? Nell's.
Yes, Nell's.
Now it's that place, that burger
Yeah.
place that everybody finds out up outside of now on 14th Street, like Black Angus or whatever the hell it is. Like people line up around the block to get the best burgers in the world. But it used to be Nell's, and right next to it was another place called Two Eyes. We're going to buy Two Eyes. That fell through too.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Dial in from Asal says Alex Heizenreiter, Jersey City, and NJ Creep. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means
Don't
either.
worry, Alex. We're just
Apparently, my reputation precedes myself.
I know
I mean,
a lot of NJ creeps in my time. Believe me.
I guess.
I mean, I grew
Right.
up
I mean, New
in
Jersey. Yeah. I mean, New Jersey's pretty like laid back compared to like other parts. Even compared to upstate New York, probably Jersey.
laid back with guns.
I mean, a fair amount of road rage, I suppose.
Oh,
You
God, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I just want to. I know. Bob Bell had a story where he once saw a gun from like his sister's boyfriend. Right? Remember that?
Oh yeah. There. I mean, I could just go on. I mean, every time I still remember this. Neighbors almost getting into fist fights. Like, these are like 50, 60-year-old guys. Like, and one, like, they passed the dog, and the dog was in a chain fence, and the dog went after somebody because they put the dog in like a 3-foot chain fence, and basically then the neighbor got pissed off at the neighbor, and then the other neighbor came out and walked past my dog, and they had to break it up. I mean, people just go crazy. It was just crazy land.
Well, Valerie's father, old Rocco, was like that to the point where the next door neighbors came and approached the son and Henry Jr. and said, like, either you deal with him or we'll call the police. This guy shit's got to stop. He was throwing like dead animals in their front lawn, things like that.
It's always over the parking spot. That's what it is. It's
like because all your garage is all cluttered with clutter, like your lawn furniture and stuff like that. And bicycles are all in the garage, so your driveway and the little strip of sidewalk out in front of your house is considered sacrosanct. You're like, well, obviously the driveway, but the sidewalk out front is that's my property. No, it's not. It belongs to the city. Anybody can like park there, but the point is, it went on and on. That kind of thing, and of course, the neighborhood used to park there was, of course, of Asian extraction. So you can understand how that didn't exactly play well. Kind of thing. Like the one on the left hand side was Chinese, the other one was Irish. So he hates Chinese more than he hates Irish. So he gave them a really hard time. I mean, to the point like they were like going to call the police on him and all. Like, this has got to stop. Like, you don't own the sidewalk out. The parking spot in front of the house doesn't belong to you. Belongs to the city.
Way to make it topical, Big Mike, with the Stop Asian Hate. There you go.
Yeah, right. No, he was like, I mean, I don't even want to repeat the kind of stuff, but the whole family was like that. I mean, Valerie was not exempt of that. Like, I went out there one time, I went out to Montauk one time, and like, with her sister, and the brother-in-law, and like I remember that, like, we're walking down the street, and like some Asian girl passed by. She goes, "Oh, that ruins the entire vacation." That
is there any like?
It was a perfect vacation until an Asian American walked down the street, and that blew the entire vacation for them.
Of course, this is like we're in this sort of shape we're in this country. Yeah, but all you got to do is remember shit like that. We're like growing up. I mean, the stories you have, Mike, I have like a ton of them, and then you realize like, oh yeah, why did we get here? Why are people like why people
that shit never changed. People think we've come so far. We haven't at all, not in the least.
I think my favorite part was like after Obama became president, everyone's just like, "Oh, we're living in a post-racial society." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
That was the excuse. That was the point. As long as Obama got elected president, you'll see somewhere down the line, like an Andrew Yang will be elected president. We'll have our first Asian president. We have our first Asian, vice president now. So the point is, somewhere along the line, that's going to be considered. Well, that's the end of anti-Asian racism. So we can do and talk and act any way we want, because after all, we're not like that anymore. The Asians have come full circle and they're just as good as America. That means we can give them any kind of shit we want to and
that's the
feel
mentality.
perfectly all right about it. Like we can sleep at night. In the past, you might have felt guilty about acting like this. Now, because somebody becomes president, like an Andrew Yang, or even Andrew Yang becomes mayor of New York, there's a 50-50 chance there. Well, there is no hatred of the Asian person in America, so we can spit in their face now because with impunity. Because after all, I'm spitting in their face because they don't look like me, but that doesn't mean I'm anti-Asian. That kind of thing.
Right. And we're gonna have a cold war with them anyway. So fine.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, good thing China runs everything now. So sooner or later they'll just.
Hey, come on, Steve.
Well, the point is, believe it or not, that's part of the attitude there. That is, once it's inflamed, that is, it's the resentment that the Asians have become number one in the world. Kind of thing that it is China.
I don't resent anything. That's like a white guy's thing. That's a white
let's
guy's
say
thing.
After 200 years, let's say, of like America and China, suddenly after 20 years, finally China has come up, even with us, and it looks like it's going to surpass us. That's perfect justification for being an asshole now. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
Perfect justification for like the military-industrial complex.
Right, exactly. Right.
Pushing the Navy all over the place.
Well, they're our rivals now. They've gone ahead of us. Like, was it again? It wasn't just the Italian side, the German side, and Valerie's family. Supposedly was a big thing about that. One day the Chinese will rule the world, and they were like, it was apocalyptic. It was like the Armageddon is gonna involve the Chinese, like the Battle of Megiddo, a good versus evil.
I just love how all white apocalypse is like
right.
People.
This apocalypse, is going to happen. The Book of Revelation is at hand, and it's the Chinese are going to be fighting. Kind of thing. Like they're going to be they're the children of Satan somehow, and we're fighting them.
Yeah, this reminds me of.
And we're the children of light, and they're the children of darkness.
We just became like the Steve Bannon podcast.
It's justifiable. Kind of thing.
By accident.
Right, exactly. Well, these people believed it. The point is they believed it.
Mike, you're spot on. I mean, it's like like what people are being fed now, and this is where the country's going to go. Even
or reality fed for 100 years. Her family the people involved were talking that way. Were born in like 1890, kind of thing. Yet the echoes are here 130 years later. You know what I'm saying?
And now what
the world that was created in 1890.
1870,
1888. It was called the 1888 Asian Exclusion Law. It applied to China, but also applied to Japan, and actually also applied to India.
Okay, that I didn't know. I didn't know it applied to India.
It was called the Asian Exclusion Act. Korea was actually part of Japan at the time. Really, it was part of Japan, but basically it wasn't just the Chinese, it was the Japanese, but it was also India. It was like how to keep the India. They referred to the Hindu, spelled Hindoo, Hindu. Keep the Hindu out of California because they were competing in the fruit industry, the fruit tree industry, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. They were the competitors, like. Their apricots were better, or their pecans were better, kind of thing. The fruit growers in
that also California. Contributed to like the Japanese internment. There was that whole
yes, of course, that was part of it. Right.
Yeah.
By the way, Adalin from Masala is asking, "What's creep Alex sipping on?"
There's a tequila.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can't talk, Alex.
I know. Usually, I get all the negative vibes from the trolls. I'm surprised that somebody else got the negative vibes this time.
Yeah, it's all right.
Wait, Alex, can you hear Alex? I can't hear him.
Oh, you can't hear me?
I can hear him.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't hear him. Oh, great. So I can't hear him. So right.
But he's getting all the negative vibes. He's getting all the trolls are attacking him instead of me. I'm almost jealous, kind of thing. Like he's getting all the attention from all the negative attention that I usually bask in. Like you're getting.
Hey, Alex, I'm going to take you out and bring you back in. I'm going to invite you back in, all right? So when I invite you back in so I can hear you, all right? So let's take him out and invite him back in, all right? But yeah, keep... Is he got? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Guys, are you still there? I hope I didn't lose everyone else.
I had to put down my Android so I could have a drink of water.
There you go. So, Bob, are you still there? Uh-oh, Bob. Is it me?
I can hear you. Todd, I can hear you.
Yeah, I guess it's just me and Big. All right, Bob. There you go, Bob. Bob, what happened? Yeah.
No, I had to brush my tooth. It's like it gets like.
I had to shave. I'll be right back. You know.
It takes like a second to do. I have to do that every once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, all right. As I try to get Alex in.
Todd, you got your unemployment is still coming in.
Hey, why are you being all nosy, Big Mike?
I worry about you, Todd. You seem like sometimes you seem adrift in the world. You know, it just.
Adrift? What do you mean? I have 20 online shows. What are you talking about? Adrift?
I mean, like, as in, like, adrift, like, career wise, or you know, like kind of thing, a solid financial, like, like, how's your bankerage doing? How's that job at the bank doing, Todd?
Yeah, job at a bank. Do I look like I work at a bank?
That's the point. That's why I worry about you, that you're not working at a bank or at an insurance firm or like or a stockbroker. You know, you never got your stockbroker's license like I told you to. You never took the civil service exam, did you?
Does he look like the type does he look like the type that's going to destroy the economy? Come on.
So I just wondering, did you like, you know, I understand with this COVID-19 lockdown, $1.9 trillion that you get your another 30 weeks or whatever it is of or at least 24 weeks of unemployment, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, you're retired now, right?
Right. I'm retired. I'm on disability. You know, I got my pension, my disability payments, you know, that kind of thing. So it's really, in one sense, I'm the first time in my life I'm set for life. I don't owe anybody anything. And understand that I'm nobody's slave. I can sleep all day, do anything I want, not worry about being responsible for the rest of my life. You know, kind of thing. I guess that's like a lot of people don't. It's like what you want in your golden years. And once it's like retirement, you want to have like, the security, but more like you don't have to dance to anybody's tune anymore. You have to, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to dance to the piper anymore. You know, you don't have to pay the piper.
Give me a second. I just want to see if Alex, can you give me a hello, Alex? Can
Test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, it's good.
There you go. We can hear him. I can hear him.
You know that there's that new movie Nomadland with Francis what's her name? McDonald, whatever her name is.
McDormand.
Right. Well, the point is, like, there's a whole bunch of people, let's say, hit 50, let's say, but they're not ready for they're not eligible for retirement until they're 65 to get their Social Security. They're kind of like in the suspension for about 10 or 15 years, and they have to basically live as nomads, like no different than like.
Yep. There he goes off the grid.
Yeah. Speaking of nomads, Big Mike is a nomad.
Off to the oasis.
Exactly.
Boy.
By the way, we never got your answer, Alex. So what you sipping on, Alex?
Oh, this is tequila. This is my my go-to tequila when it's time to sip. This is Espolón. I prefer the Clooney brand. Is called Casamigos. Is the brand that Clooney made like $500 million off of.
I remember that. I remember those ads.
But yeah, in like 2017, Kate and I went to my cousin's wedding in Mexico, and it totally changed my whole perspective on what I should be drinking. I was a straight bourbon guy for a very long time, and it just wasn't the same. Started drinking tequila in Mexico, and every time I take another sip, it takes me back to tropical paradise. So there's no escaping. There's no escaping now. I'm totally locked in.
God, I tell you, my drinking days, I do miss those days, especially during this pandemic where it's like everything's like locked down. I do miss hanging out at bars, like, I still do. Even when I was like not drinking, I stopped drinking. I still hung out at like bars at like 2 a.m. just to like.
I didn't realize that you didn't drink.
Well, yeah, I mean, actually, the funny thing is, I just turned 40, so I still want to look young. By the way, Big Mike, I know you're concerned. I just turned 40.
I got time.
So,
they kicked me off.
I'm catching up to you guys.
So.
Too. I mean, Alex is young.
Anyway, I was saying, Todd, I don't want you wind up like having to live out of an RV and travel the country working at like Home Depot or national parks for the rest of your life. That's I worry about you.
Why not? That's like the American dream, right?
Sounds
You
like
just-
fun.
Well,
Me
it is
and
like
Todd on the road. Wouldn't that be great? You and me,
well,
Todd?
that's it is. It gives you a lot of freedom. You travel the country, but I mean, like I said, you're living out of an RV, kind of thing. And you're doing like manual work when you're 60, kind
But
of
you're
thing.
living. You're living.
You know the funny thing is, it's probably going to end up I'll end up being homeless or I'll end up being some evil billionaire where I'm like, yes, Bob Bell, and have
Right. Right.
Bob Bell's brain stuck to a machine making
I-
calculations like
so-
blockchain and stuff, like
Right,
5454.
Somebody finally convinced me to put all my people have been telling me to put money in Bitcoin. I'll probably just say, all right, I'll put all my money in Bitcoin, and then it goes up, and it's like, you're worth $1.2 billion, Bob. What do you want to do?
Yeah, but then like the whole .com bubble, the old burst, so the real estate bubble. There's
Yeah.
going to be a Bitcoin bubble, It's like, I mean, you never know. People could make a lot of money out.
That's why why the bubble's not going to burst. There you go. That's it.
Exactly.
Of course,
Forces
but
that be.
99% of people
Oh, there
think
he is.
Baruch, supposedly
Soros. It's Soros.
Bernard Baruch made his money during the stock market crash, basically buying out everybody who'd lost everything, or jumping out windows on Wall Street. He bought whatever was left, and he became a billionaire. Back in the days when a billion was a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. I can see
the
myself
funny thing is,
owning like thousands of coffee shops. That would be my thing. Just like everybody like being able, like I'd be Mr.
With the small-titted but prominent nippled like waitresses.
I
boy.
didn't think of that particular detail.
Yeah. They'll probably sue Bob Bell because of Big Mike. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, Bob Bell has no issues, but what about his associations with Big Mike?
What about your partner? Huh? What about your partner? That Mike.
Do you remember the Hungarian pastry shop, Bob?
Yes, I do. I knew exactly what the reference was to.
Okay, but the point is, lately, are you on Facebook with the Columbia Alumni Association? They have a Facebook.
No,
page.
I am completely. No, I think of me as Idaho. No, I am not.
Well, anyway, the story is they had this thing. What is your favorite recollections of the Hungarian pastry shop? So what I did was I wrote about I don't know if you remember the time me, Barabay, and I think Jeff Bergerski went down there in full mail armor from we were doing Shakespeare up at Columbia. We came down.
I remember that. I was there, but I remember you walking around campus.
All right. Well, the point is, we walked in, and so we realized we didn't have any money because chainmail armor doesn't have any wallets or pockets for your wallet. So they gave us free coffee and pastries because we didn't have any money. We were we had swords on us and shields, but no money.
Wow.
And I also wrote about the graffiti in the bathroom, But what I really wanted to write about was the tiny titted girls with their prominent nipples bending over and giving you with their low cut shirts a complete view of their little tiny tits and their nipples. Olay, remember that was an Olay? They'd bend over. Did you have your Olay?
Why do I feel like it's 19? Yeah. Why do I feel like it's 1979 all over again?
Yeah, right. That was. I wanted to write that, but I knew that wasn't going to get printed. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
They didn't know what the word of bra meant. They were all running around with no bras and flimsy little shirts that left nothing to the imagination. That was my only real memory of the Hungary. But of course, you can't write that in the alumni association page, of Facebook, without being labeled a toxic man. You're like a masculine, toxic masculine man. They're
right. Mike, you might have that title by this time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. I think on Big Mike's grave, it's just going to be like Big Mike, toxic masculinity.
Exactly. The toxic male, kind of thing
Oh God, yeah.
Do you remember? Yeah, go ahead, Mike. Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, so I just want to ask Alex, though. Alex, so man, so this is your first introduction to all of us. What do you think? What's your impression of
so far so good. No, I've been having a good time looking at Mike's forehead.
How about now, Eddie?
We're having fun over here.
Eddie, better. Well, like I said, I could have a huge forehead. You could
I enjoyed
use it as a billboard. So I figured, take out advertisements.
No, you should. It's good. Toxic masculinity. No, it's important. You know, I enjoyed getting razzed by the heckling troll. That was exciting. I don't venture out into the internet very much, so this is big for me. It's a big day. You know, having a good time. You know, people who's like talking shit, but their profiles are on private. I love that. That was really exciting. That was really exciting.
There isn't anything that you don't know about me. You can check my profile. You can find out everything about me in my profile. I look at it in that way. Like, there's no part of my life that is like not fully displayed on my profile.
Well, apparently there's like a Hungarian cafe in your past that didn't come to the surface until tonight. So, you know, I consider myself very privileged to be here for that. That's very good. So, I mean, so far I'm having a really good time. Honestly, Todd, I watch a lot of your stuff on YouTube. So, you know, I knew what to prepare myself for, and I am not disappointed. I'm not disappointed. Feeling good. Feeling good.
I sometimes worry that maybe I come off too artistic or too or autistic, if you know what I mean. People.
No, I went to music school.
I don't know if you remember Todd
you know,
in the art star scene and the Lower East Side old comedy scene. For a while, there was the girls got together. They divided all the men into two categories: creeps and the fuckables. I don't know if you remember that.
What? No, what? What?
They divided all the men on the Lower East Side to two lists, and one was the creeps, the other was the fuckables. And I mean, you can guess what side of I was on. You're like, but it was like Mike Amato and Jim Malone, and Jim Malone was like, "Oh, don't make me a creep, make me a fuckable." Like, it was like some people cried about it or made a big deal about it, but like, you know, others just like, yeah, right.
Where was I in this? Where was I and Bob Bell in this? Was Bob? What,
I don't know.
I want to know.
I'd be interested, because I don't even know if I was. I just remember people saying that I was like, you know, the somebody who just like would show up at open mics, since I wasn't performing at that point. They said I was like, you know, pathetic. It was like, you know, but yeah, Mike wanted to go into it.
Yeah. Well, give us some hot deets. Give us this hot scoop of
like I said, Mike Amato, me, the bunch of people were in the creep side, and the fuckables were people like Eric Kirchberger, like, you know, the cute boys, the nice comics, you know, kind of thing, you know, like that kind of, and everybody else was on the other side. Like, I guess if you maybe you were off their radar, but I'm sure you'd be on the creep side, you know, kind of thing.
Oh. Well, you're sure? Did they say I was in the creep side? Maybe I was in the fuckable side. I was like a hot.
Maybe in his own category.
But the irony of the whole bit was only the creeps were getting laid, while the fuckables were celebrating.
Call back.
It was really kind of a theoretical, like, who's like, oh, I'd never fuck Big Mike, and then you wind up in bed next to him, and it's like, people ask, what's the first thing women wake up in the morning and say to you? Oh my God, what am I doing here? Or if you tell anybody, I'll kill you. Or I've made the mistake of my life. You're like that. Oh my God! As far as anybody knows, this never happened. But yeah, that would, you know, like that kind of thing. You'd wind up in bed next to me while the fuckables would be home playing video games.
Well, to be fair, I was only 19 years old, and I think I still was playing video games back then. So
yeah,
sadly, if I still stayed like playing video games, I'd probably have a career.
But you remember Janice Earlbaum, Earlbaum, that crew?
Oh, yeah.
And Ann Sussman, and I'm thinking of Margaret Dodge. They would only came up with this list. This, like, you know, like the girls all came up with this list of like who was the creeps and who were the. It was during the time when I remember that Girl Bomb, the bulletin board was up. The Girl Bomb bulletin board. The Art Stars scene bulletin board was up. That was all this kind of thing. Like,
I gotta tell you this though. The weird thing about that scene, and like, so basically, back in like the late '90s, early 2000s. Oh, we lost Alex literally this time.
I'm back. Here's what.
Sorry.
And
it's like, all right, I'm out. It's like that meme. I'm a head out.
Yeah, the brushes.
No, you're right. We started naming names, and I just had to, you know. Sort of fade off of the side.
Yeah. What's weird though was like the late '90s, early 2000s. There was an open mic that was like sort of like the Lower East Side open mics. It was like more like art, like basically it was like with poets and stuff. It was like more of like Lower East Side open mics back then were like more artistic and stuff. Like they're kind of like a spawn of that Andy Warhol generation from like
Right. It was. It
where,
was like it was in the sense
like
It was. It
where
was like it was in a sense the legacy of the factory scene. What followed the
right,
factories? It was a lot of times called the alt comic scene, the alternative comic scene.
right,
Or the
right.
downtown
Yeah,
scene. It
but
was. It was in one sense. Yes, Andy Warhol was dead. I forget what year it was. 1990 something. He was dead, and like and most of those of his factory scene people were themselves dead or had gone on to like become housewives in New Jersey. What was left was the old comedy
Yeah,
scene,
New
kind of
Jersey.
thing. And it was kind of like it was the kind of like the art nexus of like below Houston, kind of thing, or East Village, kind of thing. It was like the nest of like people who consider themselves artistic. And I think someone said like for people called the art stars, there's a lot of stars, but there's no art being created there. But anyway, that's what it was. It was very much
yeah,
famous for 5 minute people. Like I don't, if you remember, well, some people did come out of that scene. Judah Friedlander, for example, came out of that scene. Leo Allen.
no, I'm saying
Uh,
too. Like I do remember, like when I went there, like the first couple times I went to that mic, they did have like I think Dave Attell would go there and Jeffrey Ross and
right.
stuff, and like
Mike Birbiglia came out of there. Mark Maron. Who else am I
Right.
thinking of? Kirsten Shaw. Like
Right.
there were people who did come out of there who kind of made it. Kind of thing. Even what's the name, Victor Varnado. There were people who did come out of that scene, but it was like the percentage was like 1 out of 100. Kind of let's say there was like 200 or 300 of them down there, and maybe 1 or 2 or 3 would come out with any kind of like any kind of resume that would say yes, you really were an artist, kind of thing. It was only a handful, kind of thing.
well, the point is though, like I wasn't like a regular member there. I wasn't really a regular member of any group, but I
Well,
would do
Doug
that mic once
Davidovich,
in a while.
Marina Franklin, Joey Gay. What I'm saying? A certain
Right,
amount of people came out of that scene who became basically household words on Comedy Central, the kind of thing, or on the comedy club scene or the
right,
comedy the guy, somebody was on a talk show at the end, like then we could
right,
bring on a
right.
comic
Yeah,
before.
but Mike, but my point is though, my point being is that like the thing was like the regulars there that were just like
Yeah,
going there all the time. They had
yeah,
they had like their weird like little gossip stuff going on. Like they
yeah,
had their
right,
own little
right. The
like weird,
gossip shit that was going
almost
on.
like soap opera. They had like their own weird like soap
Absolutely,
opera.
right.
I was just
It
like,
became a soap opera. Right, right.
Right. So
and
that was the end all be all, basically, the whole thing.
I just found that like kind of funny and fascinating, where it's just like this subculture, and a lot of subcultures do have their own soap operas. Like even
Yeah,
like
right. Well, I
mainstream
mean,
route
Teresa
like that.
Saldana
But it was
shot
just
Andy Warhol. Edie Sedgwick winds up dying of an overdose. Kind of thing. Like, yeah, they had their. One of them jumped off the roof of the factory. Another one shot themselves. Kind of thing. Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of that going on in the '60s and '70s, and they had that shit going on later in the '90s in this the art star in the early 2000s. Now it's basically the scene is gone. Now it's like of all those people, maybe about 10 or 12 of them are still performing. And I'm saying like they made it, big as stars, but they're still like performing. Like
actually,
you,
so Big Mike
you,
actually.
I say Bob Bell, me. It's only a handful of people are left doing anything, kind of thing. Like most of them just became retail,
Well,
retail
Mike,
assistants, or
but you gotta
retail
understand.
assistants.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta understand too. I mean, like before the pandemic, there was like a sort of Bushwick scene, but that was like separate. That was like a
Yeah,
newer
all
newer
right. That was
scene, like
I was one of the
Bushwick,
few
where they had
people in that group. I was performing out in Bushwick.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
One of
yeah.
the few people
Mhm.
that was. I was there was a
Yeah.
place called the Telephone Bar. It's also called the night like the Black Angel Lounge. I was performing out there too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was also
So
I was
I think the
performing
thing is, I think
in Long Island City was hip for a while. Remember that? Like the Long Island City crowd was very big for a while. But the
Yeah.
art stars didn't go out there. I was one
yeah,
of the few people who went out to these places in Long Island City or Bushwick. Kind of thing. Most of them like,
Mhm.
they had this I don't know paranoia about going outside of like Ludlow Street was like or Allen Street was like they would never do that. But me, it's like that if that was where it was happening, I would go out to Bushwick and perform.
right, right. But I think the point is, though, I think like subcultures have moved online now, and you have like all
Right
these
now,
weird
it's
mini like
entirely different again. But
yeah,
see, even then, where you have it's online, a lot of these people didn't make that leap. into online or the internet, performance venue, the cloud venue, as it were, the Wi-Fi venue, the internet venue. They didn't go there either. You know what I'm saying? They just
Bob Bell, are you part of Wi-Fi venue, Bob? Are you part of Wi-Fi performance art scene,
Oh God,
Bob?
God, yeah, no. I mean, I think I've
well,
done
if you're doing this, I would have to say yes. I mean, right now,
on a regular
Hops TV is like one step even beyond Twitch and TikTok. It's like the newest
Well, if I
newest
was,
social media platform.
but I've thought about. I mean, it's true, Mike. But I've thought about like actually doing. Like I was thinking of doing the Fringe, and that would have meant doing something every night for an hour. And
Yeah.
I just, I didn't do it, but I might do it. And that's what I was thinking. Like if I was doing that, I'd say, yeah, I'm part of the scene. I just feel you have to like kind of do something, a lot, which is
Right. You have to. You got a weekly thing, and we can say that you're doing
true. It is
something every
weekly.
week.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not
Wait,
performing
Bob.
at least once a week or twice a week, you're really out of the scene. Like, and strange enough, I've even throughout this whole lockdown, I've managed to perform at least twice a week.
I mean, I feel like
Bob, wait, Bob.
Yeah.
Bob, wait. So, like, basically, you're just going to perform for the Fringe like every night, an hour in front of your computer,
Yeah,
just like talking to your
I was
computer?
thinking of doing that. I mean, they could have given you the alternative was also to do a show for an hour, tape it, and then put it on at that same time. But I said, I wasn't gonna. I couldn't do that. That was just like too ridiculous. So I said, I'm going to do
Bob,
what I wanted to do was do it in a theater. I was going to try to get a theater here, and then do the show in a theater where maybe nobody was there, but at least it was a theater, and then like broadcast it to New Zealand. That's what I was going to do it, or I was going to do
That's
it in
cool.
the snow. That was another thing. I was going to do it like in 10 degree. And then of course, it's like, oh, this is a great idea, and then I fell asleep and never happened.
And then you thought the better of it when you woke up. Yeah.
No, I didn't even think about what it was. I was like, this is great. I'm tired.
Yeah.
That's it.
Bob, I just imagine you performing your like one man show like during a blizzard, and you're just like.
That's what I was gonna do. It was because it was really cold when it was like it was like last month, and it was like 10 below zero here. So I was gonna go out and just like with a microphone and like on the street where like nobody was, just screaming like, "Hello, New Zealand! How is everybody doing? Is it warm there? Well, it's cold here."
That's good.
Well, they don't really have snow in New Zealand. They have, I think, was it they have I think it's called the New Zealand Alps. They're like 15,000 feet. There's snow on top, but they don't have conventional snowfall there. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a couple of mountain peaks that have like are snow capped, but that's it. Like you have to actually you have to be a mountaineer in order to see real snow there.
Yeah. I mean,
so it might have been interesting. Like they don't see snow.
Right. That's what I was thinking, because it was also would have been a time when it was like it was kind of warm there. Because when I did the New Zealand Fringe, it was relatively warm back in March. So I was thinking, okay, this would be interesting, but it never happened. I just got depressed.
Yeah, I just imagine Bob Bell performing in front of a bunch of dire wolves, and that's his like audience, just a bunch of dire wolves.
It wasn't much different than that. Believe me, I had like the audiences I had there could have competed with that.
Oh boy. Well, Bob. Hopefully, have you performed recently? Like even outside or anything? Or
no. But I'm thinking of like I said, when the things are starting to open up here, like during the up to the 9:30 curfew, you can have some of the theaters can open up. So I'm thinking of maybe doing the one man like down on St. Catherine Street. So.
But I say about April 1st here, things are going to open up a little bit more. Down here in New York, there's going to be some venues that are open.
Yeah.
Well, I said Viviana's having her open mic again at this rehearsal space
tomorrow,
in Times Square.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Oh, okay.
The 20th.
Okay.
So I'll probably go there. I mean, there's a dozen people show up. No more than 20, but
Yeah, I used to love going there. I wouldn't go there every week or every month, but I used to enjoy doing it. And then we'd go out and we used to get some like dinner afterwards. A bunch of us.
It looks like Bob. It looks like Big Mike is somewhere into Wi-Fi. He's performing in the big Wi-Fi in the sky somewhere.
Yeah,
he always is.
In the ether.
Multiple Big Mics going on simultaneously.
Yeah. By the way, even though we're finally like curtailing the pandemic and we have it kind of under control, this is still a dystopia, right? I feel like this is like the official like And I feel like
Yes,
with the pandemic,
yes. No, I feel like the real issue here, like all this crazy right-wing bullshit that everybody throws out to like distract from the big problem that is making these large problems even worse. The real issue is that we're still distracted from the big problem. You know what I mean? It's like this pandemic is happening and it's been totally fucking bungled. The response on this has been like, I mean, total Bush League fucking sideshow nonsense. And like, it doesn't even scratch the surface of the 20 other gigantic problems that are happening like at this very moment. And we are not able to address those the way that we need to right now because we're talking about this crazy shit right now.
Yeah. Right. By the way, Big Mike lost in the Ethernet says hello from New Bedford.
Oh, so, he found it though. He's back. Here he comes. Yes.
Was that you, Big Mike, saying hello to Bedford, Big Mike? Big Mike, hello?
The show end?
No, we're still
I'm going to make
doing it.
A salient point. I get timed out again and thrown off the app again.
It's Soros. It's Soros. He's throwing you off.
Yeah.
Soros.
Hello from New Bedford. Hello.
Was that you?
I thought they wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me. They had never heard of New York City, so I couldn't put down New York City as my home base. So I New Bedford. It was the first thing that came to my mind. Was New Bedford? It was close.
So big.
I've actually, like with the Coast Guard, I was stationed near New Bedford. So yes, and since I spent 6 months in New Bedford.
Yeah. By the way, Alex made a good point while you were gone that like basically this pandemic has basically exposed like that we're in a dystopia. Like I feel like it's mainstreamed that.
Well,
so,
it's
mainstream dystopia.
We were always in the dystopia. Right, we just never realized it.
Yeah, right.
It was like we were I think the scales fell from our eyes. The dystopia we were in, like just how fucked up things were. Just everybody kind of like
just so teetered on the top of the pyramid, just so like wobbly, and the first thing to come along that was really catastrophic.
Right, exactly. Well, that's what I felt from the beginning. The only thing that was going to save us was from Trump was that one crisis moment that he couldn't handle, like
right. He just wasn't able to president enough. He couldn't.
Not all because it was a fake. It was a fake. So the point is, he could get through.
His whole thing. Obviously, he's took a complete phony. So
that showed it. That showed the dystopia that this guy's an idiot. Like. Even at the very end, October, I think 26th, he said that the day after election it would end because he was still trying to like sell the point that this was some sort of creation of his democratic, socialist, communist, anarchist enemies created the pandemic. There was no pandemic.
Right.
There never was.
If you just pretend like it's real, then it's a problem that you can solve. And if the more problems you solve is the the ticket to your salvation, your whole thing. I mean, like, his whole thing was, I'm such a corrupt fucking human shit that like I have to be president or else
because I'm so corrupt you can't trust me.
Collapse on top of me all at once. Like unbelievable. Just like climbing the ladder on top of like elephant shit. Just like holy cow. Man, yeah. Pretty unbelievable. Pretty unbelievable.
This is what happens when you like you teach people that Santa Claus is real. And you never tell them.
Right, exactly. If you keep saying it. Or hey, how about this? God is real. How about that one?
Well, here's the thing, though, is that like Santa Claus.
Like I was watching Dr. Zhivago today, and somebody says, God is my witness. And the anarchist answers, but he's not. As God is my because he doesn't exist. Right. The anarchist says, God is not your witness. There is no God. All right? So you can't say God is my witness. That's the biggest fraud.
I thought Bob Bell is God.
I think Santa Claus is God.
Yeah.
What if Bob Bell's Santa Claus? How about that? Yeah. Like a very depressed Santa Claus.
The Joker is God. I've been watching the Joker, clips of the Joker. Oh God, Mike, does that bring you back to 1981 or 1975?
I haven't seen it, but that stairs he has dances on.
Yes, yeah.
That was in my neighborhood. I walked those stairs every day. Wow. Some people they were shocked to see it, but that's like 176th Street. There's a couple. They say the one he was actually on was, I think, between Jerome and Shakespeare Avenue, blah blah blah. But the one I was always on was the longer one. It's from Davidson Avenue down to Jerome Avenue on 176th Street. There is no 176th Street. That is 176th Street. Is that step those stone steps? You know, that kind of thing. And it was also featured in that Russell Crowe, Denzel Washington heroin versus narcotic officer movie. It was also, I forget the name of it. It was called Gangster or something like that. Or American Gangster.
He's gonna say.
I think it was called American Gangster. Russell Crowe versus Denzel Washington. You know, and that was set right there.
Big Mike. By the way, do you miss the Bronx, Big Mike? Do you miss your Bronx?
I went there with no. I have no like golden view of what the Bronx was. I'm a realist. People, there's all these Bronx communities on Facebook. How wonderful it was. Excuse me, we were in the same place. That place fucking sucked. I mean, I remember everything about it. It was, in one sense, the what would you call it? The crucible, which would form me. Anything I am today, yes, was formed in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you don't like. It was the worst place in the world to grow up. But the point is, it made you tough. It made you worldly wise at an early age. You know, kind of thing. I couldn't wait to get out of the fucking place. You know, like Columbia was my ticket out. You know, kind of thing. When I went to Columbia, like it was only like a handful of subway stops away, but it was a different world. I didn't have to, you know what I'm saying? It was entirely different world.
Was it a shocking world for you? Was it a shocking world for you, like going to Columbia from the Bronx?
No, I knew what it was like. I knew, unlike most people who are in that situation, they don't realize that there is another world. And I realized, yes, there's another world. There's a whole other world out there. You just have to cross that mysterious boundary of only a few blocks, like a river away. Like you cross the Harlem River and you're in a different world, you know, kind of thing. Like I knew it was there. I had seen pictures of it, movies of it. I'd read books about it. Like it's like there was a world outside the Bronx. But you go on these lines, and these people there's somehow Bronx is the Garden of Eden. Maybe back in the 30s or the 40s or even the 50s, but you know, like at a certain point, yes. How can I put it? To the Lower East Side, the Bronx was a garden of paradise for Jews, specifically in the jazz singer. Al Jolson is talking about, oh, Mom, I'm going to get you out of here. I mean, the Lower East Side. I'm going to get you out of here, Mom. I'm going to move up to the Bronx. The Goldbergs are up there, the Steinbergs, the Rosenbergs, all the best Bergs in the world up there. And yes, at that time, the Grand Concourse was like the Champs-Élysées. It was a beautiful time. But you talk about when I grew up in the Bronx, no, it wasn't. Like I said, it became this
you were growing up there when the Bronx was burning. Yeah, the Bronx was burning.
The Bronx was burning. If you ever saw the Bronx Tale, part of it is filmed at the grammar school I went to. Part of it's filmed at St. Nicholas of Tolentine, and none of that one doubt about the Philip Seymour Hoffman. Did he molest the kids or didn't he? About the priest. They said, he goes. When he was greeted in the parish, said, "Oh, you're from Tolentine. How are things over there?" And the whole point is, he's not in Tolentine because he obviously fucked somebody in Tolentine, fucked some 12-year-old choir boy or altar boy, and that's why they sent him to the new parish to get him out of there, which is what they did in those days. So the point is, if you weren't being molested by your scoutmaster, banged by your parish priest, beaten into unconscious by the nuns, I say. They were talking about this world of it was excuse me, this couldn't be the same place I went, because I remember just how bad. Yeah. And once in a while you get this feeling about they mentioned, somebody was mentioning Tolentine about the anti-Semitism. They used to go out looking for Jews to beat up, and it's I remember that. You know, kind of I mean, somehow and people are, oh, that never happened. No, I remember what this girl wrote. Yes, they would go out on Saturdays looking for Jews to beat up because they were wearing their yarmulkes on Saturday, and he could tell which one was who, and he beat the crap out of them. Not me. I didn't participate in that kind of nonsense, you know. But the point is, yes, there was the Irish Catholic anti-Semitic pogroms that were scheduled and performed in the Bronx that I grew up in. You don't understand how bad it was. Oh no, that's not you're just being anti-Catholic. You're no, you're not. I mean, I don't know what fucking Bronx you went to, but I remember that. And don't try to tell me it didn't happen, because it did.
Those are my favorite
memories,
people.
Mike. You're bringing up memories here.
Right. No, I mean, they're not memories to me. They're not really memories. They're like constant reminders. They're part of my present. You know, kind of thing. Like they didn't happen in the past. You know.
Yeah. What I'm saying is
like,
no, I experienced a lot of
they're
the same
part of my
stuff
present
in different ways.
And like
but
you see these people talking about how beautiful it was and how great it was. God damn, I don't know what fucking place you lived that it wasn't the Bronx, you know, kind of thing. Or reality,
I think
we lived in the same spot. We knew all the same things. We had the same experiences, but somehow you have a very selective memory about what it was like, you know. So when you talk about the Joker,
I think the problem is though, Big Mike, yeah, like so I think the problem is it's like the nostalgia, where nostalgia is basically like the perfume.
But that's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, like I think I remember how if you ever saw the Bronx Tale, that was the Bronx I remember. You know, kind of thing. Like, did you ever see that movie with it's
Yep, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ray Liotta,
Webster Avenue with the fire bombing of you go to the place like we're going to go after those guys, we're going to firebomb them. And there was a point, Webster Avenue was like that. Yes, I lived not far from Webster Avenue, and the point was that it was no quarter asked, no quarter given. If you went there and you were white, you're dead. If you came in our neighborhood to Belmont Avenue, let's say, mine was University Avenue, you're dead. They killed black guys in my neighborhood, killed them, beat them to death, you know, kind of thing. That was routine. And the same thing happened if you went in their neighborhood, they killed you too. I'm not saying that there was any kind of benevolence the other way around either. It was living in this constant, like, it was like a war zone. It was growing up in the middle of an urban civil war. So when people talk like that, it's like, you know, I don't know where you're from, but I know where I'm from, you know.
Isn't there a Norman Rockwell painting about that?
The world of like the Joker, or a lot of the stuff that John Philip Shanley writes about. He wrote the one Five Corners with Jodie Foster and Tim Robbins and John Turturro. You know, said Tim Robbins, to like redeem himself, decides he's going to become one of the freedom riders. Set in '64, because John Philip Shanley's a few years older than me. And he said if you lived in the 5 Points, he said, if some black guy came in the neighborhood, they would come out and beat him to death. And he said 5 years ago, I'd be with them. That's what he says. Tim Robbins says. So he's going to go down to he's going to go down to Mississippi and kind of like expunge the sins. And that was Jodie Foster's first adult role, and she had been brutally raped and left for dead by the John Turturro character. And this is like 5 or 10 years later. He's out of jail, and she's grown up. She was like a 12-year-old. He had basically beat her, raped her, and left her for dead. And he's come back to he's back in town. Kind of thing. Like that was a kind of Bronx I remember. I don't remember what you guys were talking about. That's the Bronx I remember. Maybe you all lived in Riverdale.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We didn't get on our New Jersey stories, so.
Yeah.
Hey, Big Mike, you should work as the tourism for the Bronx. So I'll tell you about the Bronx.
That was one guy. Recently,
you remember the fucking Yankees, but this is
I was showing her all the plays and all the things that happened, kind of thing.
No,
and she was like, "Do you miss the Bronx?" I said, "What, are you kidding me? I couldn't get out of here fast enough." I still had to commute for like 6 months for a semester from the Bronx to Columbia, kind of thing, on the D train at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, drunk and stoned, kind of thing. And it's like I still had to come back there,
until you got a room in Alpha Delta Phi.
Right, until I got the room in Alpha Delta Phi, and like I said, I never looked back at that point.
By the way, the funny thing, Big Mike, is like when you were talking about these the Catholic priests and stuff. Remember those movies with Bing Crosby where he'd play like a singing priest?
That was the nonsense. They point out that it was as early as then, the 1920s, and I think that's the Bells of St. Mary was like I think 1945 or 1946. It was going back. It was going on in those days too. That was when it began. These guys, it started then. They were in the priests were in their 30s, and let's say 50 years later, they're in their 80s now, and they're in nursing homes. But they were the ones who perpetrated it back in the day of Bing Crosby. Like playing, the young priest, and Barry Fitzgerald as the old priest. That was going on, and it wasn't just in the Bronx. It was like they point out it was going on in Ireland and places like that, in Boston, that kind of thing. Like But it was like that kind of like kindly benevolent. I never met such a priest in my life. They were all bastards. They were all like sadistic bastards. Like they beaten, like humiliated you and threatened your life and shit. Like that's what a priest was. Like I said, I don't. I think his name was Pete Glissman. Do you remember Todd or Bob? Do you remember Pete Glissman?
I remember it. Pete Glissman. Yeah.
Glissman.
Yeah.
He said he went to Catholic school for 12 years, or what I like to call atheist training camp. It was like, exactly. After that, could you ever believe in God again? And like, no, I don't think you could.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, so I went to public school as a kid because I'm poor and black.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, like, so my grandma was Catholic, and like at so I had to go to Sunday school, to like for communion and stuff. And I always
was like Wednesday afternoon you went to something like that.
So here's what pissed me off, though. It's like I go to school for 5 days a week in public school, then I have to go to fucking Sunday school for like maybe this thing's like I mean, at least I get facts from like public school, or at least whatever. But Sunday school, I got to learn that maybe facts from this or like maybe stuff. It's like
I was shocked to learn that when I was like 14, a bunch of my classmates, I'll call them that, had never they had never heard they had never heard of the theory of evolution. They had never heard they asked about Adam and Eve. I was talking about dinosaurs. I said, well, where's Adam and Eve then? I was like, looked at them with stun. They thought that Adam and Eve was the story of mankind.
The
story of
this is in the Bronx.
This is the Bronx in the 1970s.
In the 70s, the Bronx in the 70s, people didn't know about evolution. The high school students.
Yeah, it was the Bronx. Why would they know that? I don't think they taught evolution until the 90s or something, right?
I don't know. In New York, I don't know. I mean, I'm southeastern Pennsylvania, so I don't know. I mean, and even still, I know people that don't believe in evolution. So
yeah, you
what are you gonna do?
You're younger than us, though. Did they teach you evolution when you were in high school?
Fuck yeah, they did. And I'm not that much younger than you. I'm like 38 years old.
Okay, yeah, because I don't really remember them bringing up.
No, I went to a very, very nice public school right outside of Philadelphia, and no, it was very good. From start to finish. I had the elementary school that they built in the 70s when they had the money, and it was like this new age elementary school with no walls. So all the classrooms had like these filing cabinets and shit, and they were all on wheels, like shelving units that were all on wheels, and they would sort of make these partitions with them to separate out these classrooms. But I mean, it was all like open air shit, and they had a small learning pod and in a larger learning pod. It was far out. I was definitely very lower middle class in.
I think I got timed out again, but I'm back.
There weren't private schools really. There's the tech school and the Catholic school and my high school basically, and public school. And it was they were all very, very nice public schools, and I liked them all very much, and I learned a lot.
That's good. See,
but they. Definitely, there were some fucking people that didn't believe in evolution, which is I don't understand. I don't understand.
To go to public school, I did. I went to Bronx High School of Science, and I was told that don't go there because it's 99% black. When I got there, it's 2/3 Jewish. It was those bitches, those nuns lied to me again. Those old bastards. They swore that if I went there, I'd be murdered by the black students. Because remember, you'll be the only white guy there. You'll be the only white guy in the class. I was like, all right.
Our fucking
wow. I would get my throat in the boys' bathroom by black gang members if it means getting out of this fucking fucked up Catholic school. And then I got there and I realized they were lying all the time. They had been lying.
But Big Mac, I just love the idea of a bunch of nuns saying, "Oh, don't go to the Bronx Science where they'll teach you and all the blacks over there."
They'll kill you. The blacks will kill you. Oh, they didn't use the word black. P.S. If you get my all those Negro kids will kill you.
Bronx
And
nuts.
they couldn't dissuade
Those
me
are the
not to
days.
go there. Like it was like I'm trying to think. Like let's say about 30 people took the that citywide test that they've done away with now under De Blasio
Right.
to get in,
Mhm.
and like out of the 30, 3 people went. Me and 2 other kids in the school, but everybody else turned it down. Went to St. Nicholas of Tolentine, but the laugh is on them because
Who
the
was St.
parish
Nicholas of
closed
Valentine?
it down. It
Yeah.
doesn't exist. The parish doesn't exist anymore because they had to do a $500 million payout to the victims of the priests and the nuns. You know,
Wow. But
so
I
the
mean,
point
like
is the wheel
Catholic
of
school,
karma has
who
turned.
was St. Nicholas? Anybody
It's a
know?
St.
Valentine?
Nicholas of
Todd?
Tol-
Who was
There's
St.
2
Nicholas?
St. Nicholases.
It was
There's
Santa
St.
Claus again,
Nicholas is
right?
Santa Claus, but this was the other St. Nicholas, St. Nicholas of Tolentine, Italy, and he brought a child back from the dead. That was his big.
Nice. There you go. Necromancy is like very
Right,
fancy.
necromancy and the
Yeah.
necrophilia. And the necrophilia.
Oh shit! And added dimension to
Yeah,
the
added dimension. Yeah,
sinister.
bring a
Yeah,
little boy back
the
there
black
from
arts. Yeah,
from the dead,
very
and then
exciting.
fuck him.
And I
Yeah.
used to believe
Oh,
in miracles, and now what?
Well, like I said, Bob, this all started out of the discussion of Joker and the Joaquin Phoenix, character,
Yes.
and the
yeah,
whole
right.
story is that he didn't get woke enough to pull himself out of there. You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah,
succumbs to the violence and the deprivation
All right,
and the degradation there.
Guys,
But-
I got to put the light up for this show because it's almost like an hour and a half. So,
Well, sorry,
yeah, we
this
had a
became
good.
like firing line or like commentary or something like
Yeah.
kind of thing like Meet the Press or something like that, or
Right.
like the
Oh, man.
the Rachel Maddow show in the
Right,
end.
right,
you
yeah,
know?
right. The
Oh my God.
McLaughlin group.
Yeah,
There
the
it is.
McLaughlin group.
That's the one. There you go. Holy
I
shit.
thought this was
kidding me?
supposed to be a fun, lighthearted, humorous telecast or an internet cast.
Yeah, if we don't get that
I hope our
ban from
viewers
everywhere.
enjoyed it.
Yeah. It ended up feeling like one of those like endings of a Scorsese movie where it's like, fuck the Bronx. I grew up there, and I don't want to remember it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, they said
Lot
the
of-
real
lot
life
of
guy
bitterness.
played
Mm.
Collagino the kid in the adolescent Collagino. In real life, he wound up killing a policeman in a burglary gone bad, and spent 15 years in jail. He became a heroin addict not long after
Wait, who
that
was the
movie.
kid?
The real
What's the
Collagino.
context? Was
Huh?
that the kid with the Bing Crosby movie?
No, the one who the one who was in Bronx Tale. The one who became the friend,
Yeah, you mean the actor?
became the
the
friend of
actor.
Chaz Palminteri. He became a
Right.
heroin addict in real life.
Right.
The actor, he was an unknown
Yeah.
actor. They brought him, and he becomes a heroin addict, and he kills a cop in real life.
Wow.
And
Right,
during a burglary round, because he was like, I think he was like 17 or 18 at the time, like he was actually underage. That they sent the guy he was working with to jail for life, but he got like 15 years. He's out now. But the
Yeah, I
point is, like,
remember
I'm just saying, the reason I mention it, some people can't leave. Some people won't leave. Some people, like, I hate to use the new term woke. He never got woke, kind of thing. That this life didn't have to be like that, kind of thing. It can be different. You can join the real human race. You can join people with dreams and aspirations, creativity, art, literature, or just kind of like normalcy. That you like your idea of a Saturday night isn't going out looking to lynch people of a different race. That's not like, or even a creed. Literally looking for Jews on Saturday to beat up. I mean, like, is there a life beyond that? And the answer comes back, yes, but very few will embrace it. Most will be stuck in.
Well, it's so sad, Big Mike. Though it seems like that's come back like that to life because of the pandemic, and then like you have
I
all
think
these.
some
hate
people
crimes
never
back.
left. That's the point. They never left.
Yeah,
that.
I think Big Mike's right. Where it was always there, and we thought that it's like when we were saying Andrew Yang being president is like it's the same thing. Where it's just like
Right.
we get lulled into the full sense of security that maybe it's getting better, and as soon as the curtain is pulled back, we're all horrified, just like, oh, what do you mean? I thought like I consider myself enlightened. What the fuck is happening? My God.
I don't know if you heard the latest. Senator Moynihan. He's dead now. He was senator. his daughter was caught like spitting on a Chinese couple and telling them to go back to China.
No.
What?
Really?
Recently?
I tutored
Yeah, it just
her.
happened like yesterday or a couple or a day.
I actually
And of
tutored
course, she
her.
gets on television just
That's
so they know that's
crazy.
not me. That's not. Well, it was certainly you when you did it. You know what I'm saying? Like you say that's not you. That's not what I'm about. But when you were confronted with an Asian couple, the worst you could called
What's
a
her
bunch of
name?
names and
What's her
spat
name? I
on them
think I
and
tutored
told
her.
them to go back to China. You know, that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
Well, that
and
sounds
you should have
terrible.
known better. You should have known better. You know, that
Nah,
kind of
it's
thing.
bad.
You know, you have
Yeah.
no excuse. Well, they point out that Marky Mark, Mark Wahlberg,
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
like
he was
hit a lady with a
involved
chair
with
and
when he was
knocked her eye out
14.
of her head. Yeah,
No, well, he was involved with he attacked a bunch of Vietnamese immigrants when he was a
Yeah.
kid. And he was like 14. He beat them with a tree limb, and like I said, he caused like permanent damage to one of them. Everybody else who was a part of this gang attack wound up getting a hard time, but he was 14 at the time, so he got a pass.
Well, the funny thing is, there's a story too where like, I think the guy that Mark Wahlberg assaulted or blinded, he forgave him. Like they met or something.
Okay, of course,
Yeah.
right. Everything works out, but
Which is critical
but
thing.
that's not
Celebrity.
what
Once you're
you were
celebrity,
at the time. You meant to kill that guy because you didn't like
Yeah.
Vietnamese immigrants coming to your neighborhood, your shitty, fucked up neighborhood in this place called Orchard Park. Boston is like the Bronx of Boston. Kind of thing. It was like this shitty neighborhood was being made shittier in quotation marks by Vietnamese moving into your neighborhood. So you felt you had to kill one of them.
By the way, that's kind of
good
ridiculous.
Lord.
Bro, imagine getting beat up by a bully, and then that bully ended up being like Marky Mark. From the
Well, Marky Mark,
Yeah.
right? Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No,
Winds up
crazy.
being like an internationally famous actor and
No, it's like
underwear model.
the Allen Iverson thing, right? Where he
Right,
like
yeah, he did the
beat
same
somebody
thing,
up
right.
at a bowling alley when he was in high school, and everybody was like, "Oh, well, plays really good basketball," and he fucking crushed for the Sixers for like 14 years. So good. I love Allen Iverson. I mean, it was amazing.
Robert Eiler, the
he's
one who played the son of Soprano, Tony Soprano.
Oh, right.
In real life, he robbed
right.
some kids. He robbed some kid. I think it was gunpoint. At gunpoint.
Right. Or
When he was
what's his
16.
name? The swimmer, right? That went and like stole some shit in Brazil or whatever and got
right.
like arrested.
Robert Lochte? Lochte? Robert
Lochte,
Lochte?
yeah. Goofballs.
Ryan Lochte.
What is happening with that?
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
Well, it's like they think, like, oh, don't you know who I am? Kind of thing. Like they got a free pass because of their celebrity status.
Yeah.
By the way, everybody who's watching the podcast, your homework for the week is to watch Taxi Driver and report back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh boy! All right, and on that note, guys, that was a fun. It's always a fun talk every week. I'm glad I still do it and stuff. I don't know how many more we'll do since
the powers that be are watching.
Yeah. But I want to thank.
How many listeners or watchers did you get? How many people tuned in? Do you think?
I think currently 46 people are watching. 11 likes.
That's,
we have
that's as much as ever was at Surf Reality or Collective Unconscious when I was born, or at the Bowery Poetry Club, that's as good as audience has ever got.
Hey, that's probably one of the reasons we're still doing it, because like people were fans of our show that we did nightly. We did it. Remember, that's gonna be crazy. Like when we're gonna talk about in 2020, like about 2020 when we did like these shows nightly and stuff. And like we had like a guy like Global Freeze.
To some people, it was the end of the world. They weren't. But some people adapt. At point is that what I'm saying. Like I feel Todd, you adapted. Bob, you adapted. I guess Alex, you adapted too, and I adapted to a new circle. Is it the adapt or die? Kind of thing. You're a dinosaur, and the comet wipes you out. But remember, it meant that mammals would eventually rule the planet,
right?
Which they do, right?
Yeah. But some lizards still made it through.
Yeah. Turtles made it through.
Still
crocodiles
be
through.
snakes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Birds
still survive
the
comet. You can survive it if you really, really.
There's a dinosaur
lucky.
called
a lot of luck probably involved in that. Who's to say?
That still exists. Like they live in Australia.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're the one that's right under that fucking comet, you're done. That's it.
I guess this is like ending the show on a high note in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Don't wait for the big one. I want to be hit in
As
the
high
head
of
with
a note as
I want to
we
die
can
of a
get.
concussion by I got hit in the head with the asteroid. You're like right in my head.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. One day, universe is going to burn out, and then
Yeah.
we'll be gone.
It's only a matter of time, really. It's
Yeah.
basically inevitable. So
Yeah.
no matter where you're at and what you're doing, you'd try and live forever, but eventually the fucking sun's gonna burn out. So
Yeah.
good luck with that.
Well, remember
Yeah.
Bob Grant used to say, "I hope a comet hits this country." Like he was praying for the asteroid to hit the United States. Bob Grant,
I remember him
the
saying
radio
like,
personality.
something
I
about
hope a
Gaddafi.
comet comes down and
Oh,
crushes
boy.
us all.
Those are the old, right. Those are the old days. Oh God, he was he
Okay.
was crazy before crazy.
All right, let's wrap it up. All right, so Alex, you have any plugs you want to plug before we go?
Check me out. I was just on the last PN and Friends. Had a really great time doing it. Large Al coming at you, and I had a really great time tonight. Thanks for having me out.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I just posted the short because we not just a full episode, but we post extras from it, and we posted a very funny extra. So check him out on that. Big Mike, you can find him here next week, I guess.
Yeah.
And
I'm doing
also
something online. It's called the Neuronautic Institute. It's going to be on YouTube. They always put me on the end so they can cut me off, but it's I'm serious because I'm so objectionable, and they save it for a YouTube. When YouTube has its its limitations, its standards, and I'm no good for the community standards. So they have me at the end of the broadcast so they can just cut out my section. So that's going to be next Thursday at like 7:30, I think. Neuronautic Institute.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Bob? Bob, what about you?
You can
YouTube
find me
likes
at
you.
you can find me at the Mamie Cleffer Tea getting an almond croissant, like down right in downtown Montreal. That's
Hot
my
dog.
life these days.
Yeah. All right.
That's right. Cool. And guys, you can find me. You just find me, guys. You'll find me, PN and Friends. This show will be back on next Wednesday, and also we're going to do NFTs soon. PN NFTs, part of the PN and Friends thing. It's going to be crazy. When I announce that, it's going to be awesome. And yeah, that's our show. Thank you for watching. Spread the word. Thank you. This is why we do it, so we can connect with you guys.
See you guys.
And
thanks for watching.
And yes. Oh, we should do the timer.
Good seeing you
Let's do
guys.
the timer.
Yeah.
Wait, let's do the
Count
timer.
down.
We all day. Yeah. Oh, Bob, a big Mike.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's too long.
Still doing it. Still living it. That's great. Is it too long? Still 20 seconds? Just can't pull it out?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. This is like,
Yeah.
5 seconds.
like New Year's Eve every night.
Well, hey, it's great seeing you guys. Take
Yeah,
care.
same here, Alex.
Everybody wear a mask, and we'll see you in person very soon.
It's over. Bye.